Hmm.
Gary, you're in a t-shirt. We're all like in our
I
jumpers now.
I am. I had two clients rescheduled today, and I have a client after our class, but had a big open spot in my day, so I helped Robert with all the landscaping stuff and getting refrigerators and stoves for a new house we're building, and so we did all that kind of stuff today. And yeah, and then I recorded a video sales letter for a product that we're launching through Kajabi and IICT, which will be fun. And yeah, so it was a busy day, but I got to work out finally in my garage.
Oh,
So yeah. So I'm out there
yeah.
with this old fart lifting weights, thinking anything's going to change, but it does make me feel better. So I do it.
Yeah. I just have
So
so much more energy after I've had something physical during the day.
yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So who wants to share their lesson from last week?
I'll go ahead and share.
Yeah.
Um, Mine was you and your creator can communicate through creation. And for whatever reason, because that isn't the most amazing quote I've ever written down as a homework assignment, but it was particularly impactful for me because I used it quite a bit, actually. I used it quite a bit. I remember being this was a shift for me because I remember being up at a place called Isabella. It's a golf center in walking distance where Robert and I, but they have a nice little restaurant there, and they got Beyond Burgers because I'm a vegetarian, so they feed me, you know. So we walked in and we're having a meal, and there's this whole gaggle of old lady golfers, and they're really loud and they're really gossipy. And then this is the one thing that gets me. One of them says, "Are you going to go to the Republican meeting tonight? I'm going to bring all my Trump cups and all my Trump flags, and we're going to celebrate." And I'm like, "Be calm, Gary. Be calm. Don't don't be upset," which is ridiculous. So I leaned over to Robert and I said to him, "Isn't that an amazingly diverse group of the expression of God that you've ever seen, Robert?" And he looks over and he goes, "Well, that's a different way of describing it." I said, "Yes, it is. That's my lesson for the week. It is a diverse group of the expression of God that I would normally condemn, and now I'm seeing it only through the eyes of oneness and choosing to do that. That's rare in that kind of situation for me." So I did that most of the week. I found myself like very strong the first 3 or 4 days and then sort of tapering off as days wore on. But I did find myself doing that today as well as a reminder. So that's a really good one for me.
Yeah.
Because if it is true that the resonance of the divine is in all things, and whatever we're judging, whatever we're condemning, whatever we're, um, yeah, gossiping about, is the way we continue our separation. That's how we separate ourselves. So when I think about if I'm hurting another one in thought, word, or deed, I am actually injuring myself along with it. So I'm doing my best to catch myself earlier than I've done before. And I'm happier, by the way, which is awesome.
Mm.
Oh, and Joe, and just so you know, all kinds of shit came down in the last 3 days for me, so unexpected, so out of the blue, so that would throw me into scarcity and fear, and I haven't gone there. So you can get through anything, buddy.
Oh, I've already lived like
You can
this
get
far. I
through.
know I'm fine. I just got to get through this moment in time.
I know. I grind away, buddy. Get a pillow, beat the hell out of it. Get a baseball bat, smash a bat. Work out the energy. It'll be good.
Get another one of those bars from your friend and sleep for 36 hours.
That's my problem.
Hey,
I left all those people in my past, so I didn't have any influences in my weak moments when I was weaker. Now I'm much stronger, and it's like I don't really need it. It's just reminiscing. That would be a great nap.
That
Yeah,
would be great.
I'd love a nice quiet vacation, cabin in the lake, cabin in the woods on a lake, just secluded, quiet, allow me to come back to self, realign. Yeah,
No, you get an hour of it with us.
another day in paradise. I will do my best to hold myself here.
Yeah,
Awesome.
at the moment. Mine was tune into your will because it is the same as God's. Unconditional service is the clue. And I still struggle with unconditional service. I struggle with um, giving unconditionally because you can give unconditionally to people and drain yourself. So I'm reframing it all to think of, even if I'm doing like a Ho'oponopono and I'm just doing a process to say, I love you, I forgive you, please forgive me, and I'm sorry, or whatever else there was, I can't remember what they are. But even doing that, and you're not doing it with the other person in front of you, you're just doing it for your own benefit. And when you can do it sincerely, you do actually get kind of the karmic response. That's what I feel like I've got to be aware of when the giving unconditionally has to be with no agenda, and you know you're doing it right when you can feel that karmic love coming back to you. That's kind of what I'm working on. Does that make any sense? It just sounds really fluffy, but
Makes perfect sense.
And Via, I want to just introduce this to you because I know that you probably know this, but when we are doing Ho'oponopono or we're contemplating someone's form, they feel it energetically at some level when we're contemplating their form and channeling love to that form until we can feel love for the soul. We there's no call for I can't feel love for the personality, but I can feel love for the soul of that person. And when I can connect there, then we kind of return to that state of oneness and they get it. They'll feel it at some level.
Yeah. Thank you. Carly, how did you go?
Um, Mine was, your will is your salvation because it is the same as God's. So I've sort of been coming and going a bit from that, and that yeah, sometimes I'm very sort of, at one, and sometimes I'm really, really not. And yeah, it's
So you're
that's all
human.
yeah, that's the one. And letting other people be is also, that whole sort of judgment thing and which is also the thing like what Gary was saying about the people being a reflection of you. It's sort of if I'm judging someone, I'm judging myself.
Yep.
Mm,
Work in progress, hey?
yes, very much.
Linda, were you here last week?
Mhm.
Did you have your lesson?
So mine was a question. How sensible can your messages be when you ask for what you do not want? And I kind of cheated with that one a little bit because it's something I've been working on for a while anyway. But I guess if you feel a bit of pain or what have you, while I don't like to label things, I'll actually stand there and say, well, what was that about? Come on, what was that about? So I guess I'm not asking for what I don't want. I'm just trying to figure out why it's happening.
What the lesson is?
No, the I'm not asking for what I don't want. I'm continuing to be positive about things, and the fact that I'm very lucky that my body is what it is, and I don't have a lot of issues going on. But when there is some pain, I mean, come on, I'm 60 now, then I'm asking the universe why that's actually happening. Is it a karmic thing? So I've got questions within that question that I'm pondering and looking at, and what I have done over, what I continue to do.
Linda, can I give you a suggestion for that?
Sure.
Rather than go to the head and try to ponder it, go to the body, to where the pain is in the body. Get out the secret language of your body book. Look what that area of your body actually means. Generally, it's that book is for organs. It doesn't really go into the full body language of it all. But at minimum, put yourself in a garden, lean up against a tree, and focus your mind from behind your two eyes. Have it go down to where that pain is in your body, and ask it what its message is for you. And if you do that, you may get another level of information. And that would be one way to start creating communication, because the pain is a sensation that is a messenger.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out here when actually you're not talking to the part that is sending you the message. So you may try that, and you may find you get some really interesting, clearer data.
I do tend to go to Louise Hay's book to find a message, but I haven't done that in the last little while. I'm not sure why. It's right here, like it's right there. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. Interesting, because I actually said to Swabby last night, I think he's overthinking things with some stuff that's going on. So it's kind of interesting how you can pick up with other people, but you're not so good at it with yourself.
It's quite frustrating.
Yeah.
Linda, if you like, I would like to practice the inner healer process that Gary's taught, and I haven't used it in quite some time. That's quite lovely.
Sounds great.
Yeah, that could get some pretty miraculous results, actually.
Well, apart from this week coming up with Easter and Anzac weekend, I'm usually available on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I know you're busy, so I'll let you work out when it would suit you.
We'll talk about that later. Jane, hello. Did you come away with a lesson last week that you want to share how you went?
Actually, last week was really so meaningful, just so meaningful for me. I came away with an even greater feeling of oneness, oneness with my maker, with my God, and with each one of you. The lack of separation was ever so apparent for me, and it's been rotating around in my head over and over again, and so I'm so grateful about that, and just trying to remind myself of the lack of separation, that there is no lack. As soon as my emotional Achilles heel gets pinged because I witnessed something or I judge something, it's like it's like getting hit with a hammer. It's like, no separation. Come on, feel the love. feel the ease. Go ahead, be easy with this. So, anyways, yeah, I so grateful for that.
Beautiful. So, Joe, you couldn't really join us for the whole thing last week, but did you have a lesson that you were working on?
I don't know what my lesson was from 2 weeks ago. Or would it be 3? I don't know. But yeah, I don't have anything in front of me.
We'll find a new one for you this week then.
Sure.
Julie, it's been a while. How did you have a lesson that you've been working on?
I can't even find it.
Ah.
Where my last date is written down. So no, I have a lesson every day at the moment.
We'll find one for you this week. Let's start reading. Let me check that
Yes, let's do that.
my Kindle is still open and then I'll share it. There we go. Alrighty. We finished number 8 last week, and the chapter is the acceptance of the atonement. And it's part 1, the acceptance of reality. So we're up to number 9. Gary, did you want to open us up with that one?
Yeah, I can do that.
Mm.
Ultimately, everyone must remember the will of God, because ultimately everyone must recognize himself. This recognition is a recognition that his will and God's are one. In the presence of truth, there are no unbelievers and no sacrifices. In the security of reality, fear is totally meaningless. To deny what is can only seem to be fearful. Fear cannot be real without a cause, and God is the only cause. God is love, and you do want him. This is your will. Ask for this, and you will be answered, because you will be asking only for what belongs to you.
I just love that first sentence. Everyone must remember the will of God because ultimately everyone must recognize himself.
Yes.
A new bit for me.
I already found my sentence, so I'm reading it. The sentence I love most in that paragraph is, God is love and you do want him. This is your will. Ask for this and you will be answered. I love that.
I'm reminded of Linda's lesson from last week of asking for what you do not want and what's the so instead of rephrasing that, God is love. And this is your will.
You guys would absolutely crack up if you could see my computer. It's loaded with post-it notes taped to the side with all of the lessons from the Course in Miracles on it.
Mine
It's
go into
really-
my journal and they're like it's sticking, reminding me where I was up to.
And I just write straight into the book and underline all the sentences and asterisks and one
Then
day
you hold-
one day somebody's going to find this book and they're going to go, "Oh my God, look at that. All this writing through it."
I'll
Hope yours
send
is
you a
legible.
screenshot.
Mine isn't. Smile.
Send you a screenshot, V. It's hysterical.
Do we need to break up number 9 anymore?
I don't. Anyone else
No.
need to?
I was just questioning the sentence, in the security of reality, fear is totally meaningless. The security of reality is what's throwing me.
Well, fear isn't real. So if fear is not real, then the reality is that fear is totally meaningless.
Yeah, so I guess the question is for you at the moment, Joe, what is your reality? And is it actually real?
Hanging out with y'all to discuss in the course of
Yeah.
the miracle what it is at this time.
This is real, yes. This is absolutely real.
And further down it says fear cannot be real without a cause, and God is the only cause.
Hmm.
But Joe, I think I get what you're looking at with that, because the security of reality, and the reality is quite, when they talk about reality in this, it is quite fluffy. It's quite ethereal. It's not, so everything that's going going on around us is not real. So what is real? It's a bit like what you do not want and what you do want. Um, it it's it's kind of hard to identify.
I'm sure it'll make sense. I've missed a couple readings, so I'm sure next paragraph or so will help it sink in.
Yes. Yeah. And this is the whole section is the acceptance of reality. So, and we're only halfway through it. It's a big one. Got any questions, Julie? No?
A million. 'Cause I'm just letting it hover and be there, you know? I'm not making a judgment on any of the readings,
Yeah.
just allowing them
float.
to float, yeah, and flow and
Yeah.
use the power.
Mhm. Sounds good.
What's
Give
this
us-
whole theme again? Accepting what was it you just said?
This section is the acceptance of reality. It's chapter 9, which is the acceptance of the atonement. Have you got the book there, Julie?
No,
Oh.
I'm not in my son's house at the moment, so I
Well,
don't
it's
even,
page.
I don't even have the book
Oh, you
with
don't have the
me
book,
here in the
okay.
country, no.
It's page 1. We're up to 162.
I also
Okay.
about the security of reality. If reality is right now I'm breathing, I'm pretty confident I'm going to take my next breath. That could be the security of reality.
Yeah. The present moment.
Mm.
Sure.
He got Tolly. I love his present moment. This little giggle.
Who wants to read number 10?
Oh well, if you want.
Go, Jude.
When you ask the Holy Spirit for what would hurt you, he cannot answer because nothing can hurt you. And so you are asking for nothing. Any wish that stems from the ego is a wish for nothing. And to ask for it is not a request. It is merely a denial in the form of a request. The Holy Spirit is not concerned with form, being aware only of meaning. The ego cannot ask the Holy Spirit for anything because there is complete communication failure between them. Yet you can ask for everything of the Holy Spirit because your requests to him are real. Being of your right mind, would Holy Spirit deny the will of God? And could he fail to recognize it in his Son?
Beautiful.
That actually clarifies a few things, doesn't it?
Yes.
I have a question. The last line, and could he fail to recognize it in his son? The words his son is all of us, not the Son of God, as in Jesus.
Is it like sonship?
But I think when it's the capital H and capital S, he is talking about Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I think as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yes. Okay.
I think I've got my lesson out of that one. Any wish that stems from the ego is a wish for nothing.
Mm,
That makes so much sense. When things haven't worked out, it's like, where have I been actually asking from?
mm.
Mm.
It's merely a denial in the form of a request. It's like, well, I'm feeling stupid.
You know, I heard this statement once. I think is so very true, and I try to incorporate it into my life. Is that the only thing that really makes sense to ever ask for is for a deeper, more profound connection to God, and the ability to experience that connection and to feel that connection. Because anything else that I would ask for would be based upon a separated mind if it wasn't asking for that deeper connection with God. It would come from my ego. It would come from a place of what I thought I needed when actually I don't know enough to know what I need. But I do know that if I ask only for God, then everything else will be added to that. So that's something that I think is important for us to understand because it's kind of what this paragraph is saying. Anything that we're asking from the ego, it's not even real.
Mm.
It's a denial of the oneness or the state of oneness in the form of a request from our ego.
Mm.
So we can ask for nothing, really.
Well, other than, bring me closer to you,
Yeah.
the experiences that bring me closer to you. But if you really mean that, because I've done that before, and I only once on my 73 years on the planet have I really done that. And I had the biggest evolution of my life. It was super painful. I entered therapy because of it. And so when I asked to be brought closer to God, I had to face my shadow in a way I'd never done before. So be careful what you pray for, because if you pray for that, and you're granted it, your ego is going to have a wild ride. And I don't say that's a bad thing. I say that that's a really good thing. But if you think it's going to be all rainbows and unicorns, for the ego, it won't be. But it's worth every moment of it.
I'm proud of you on that one. It's not going to be rainbows and unicorns for your ego.
No, which we think we are, so it's not gonna be
Yeah.
rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah.
My little granddaughter just adores rainbows and unicorns.
Julie, I was just thinking the same thing. And what do we give our children? Rainbows and unicorns. And then as they get to be adults, we say, oh no,
hmm
don't go there.
The other morning, she was squealing from the bathroom with absolute delight, and we all went in, and there was a rainbow all the way over the sky. Look at that. And she was jumping up and down with excitement. Oh, I want to be back there.
There's a lesson in that, isn't there?
Mm,
Well, there is.
mm.
Mm. We happy with number 10?
I am.
All right. Who wants to read number 11?
Will,
Go ahead.
you do recognize the enormous waste of energy you expend in denying, you do not realize the enormous waste of energy you expend in denying truth. What would you say of someone who persists in attempting the impossible, believing that to achieve it is to succeed? The belief that you must have the impossible in order to be happy is totally at variance with the principle of creation. God could not will that happiness depended on what you could have. Oh my God. God could not will that happiness depended on what you could never have. The fact that God is love does not require belief, but it does require acceptance. It is indeed possible for you to deny facts, although it is impossible for you to change them. If you hold your hands over your eyes, you will not see because you are interfering with the laws of seeing. If you deny love, you will not know it because your cooperation is the law of its being. You cannot change laws you did not make, and the laws of happiness were created by you, for you, not by you. That was difficult.
Yes.
There is a really good line in there, though. I like that one. The fact that God is love does not require belief, but it does require acceptance.
hmm
Which really should have come before paragraph 9, where it says God is love and you do not want him, and you do want him.
Yeah.
The sentence, if you deny love, you will not know it because your cooperation is the law of its being. I don't get that
That
sentence.
is the one I am contemplating as well. And it's saying, I guess, that you can't love unless you are cooperating with the law of love.
Or is that going back to God is love and you do want him? I should have stayed in bed this morning. I'm really not kind of getting this. Gary?
Mm.
I've just simplified it. Love requires your cooperation.
It does.
Yeah. And I do like the last sentence. You cannot change laws you did not make, and the laws of happiness were created for you, not by you.
I think some of us more than others, but I think to some extent we all spend a lot of time wasted denying the truth. I know I have
Mhm.
in my always we me moments and blaming others and trying to
The,
control others.
but the great thing out of that, V, is that it's recognized now.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
previously, I never recognized that in myself. It was always somebody else's fault. Whereas now, I'm quite happy to accept that I've made a mistake or said something I shouldn't or what have you. And I always apologize for it straight away rather than it being a karmic thing as I go down the track, like it has been from my youth, you know? That's very interesting.
I think that the phrase of if you deny love, you will not know it because your cooperation is the law of its being. I think to simplify it is we may say, I want love, I want to be in love, I want to know love, but so oftentimes do we say and work towards, but I'm love, and love attracts love.
Mhm.
And you can't ask for love unless you are love because you won't know it. You won't recognize it.
mm-hmm. Mm.
Say that again, that last bit. Really liked it. I am love and love attracts love.
Yeah, you can only attract what you are.
Yeah.
You can't attract what you want.
And there's a lot of talk in the personal development field about the superconscious mind. And when I think about that, I think what they're actually speaking about is the state of oneness, that the state of connecting in love to all things and then attract to you. Because they're always talking about manifestation and getting the things you want. And I think, well, just that presupposition right there is like separation. You know, if you want all these things, then why are you in this practice of speaking about the superconscious mind, which is really, I believe, that state of oneness? It still seems like it's at a lower vibratory level. If you are praying for or focusing on just that connection with the divine and all things are added unto you, then what you do for your activities in the world, that just becomes a natural evolution into being able to create more of the environments in which that love can be expressed, in which you can experience that love in groups of people, in small groups of people, and no people at all. But just that state of that eternal oneness, I think, is the one, what's the word? The one place of sanctuary for all of us. I spoke to a gentleman today who was in the middle of a meltdown. He had called me to speak on one of his, mastermind, high achieving podcast shows. And I called him back, and when he answered the phone, he sounded like he was on the verge of jumping off a bridge. And his whole thing was, oh, all these really hard things happened in the last 6 hours to me, like big bills and cars getting wrecked and all these things that he didn't want to have happen, and he was melting down. So I had a conversation with him about that, and I really do believe that our experiences, no matter how hard they are, they're not meant to break us. They're meant to turn us towards the one thing that is the sanctuary that's always there. I really do believe that. Robert and I got hit with a $30,000 tax bill. Our air conditioning and heating unit on a very large house blew up. We have so many huge expenses right now that just came out of the blue. And it's not that my business is down. It's not, but I'm not making that corporate money. So I'm looking at it all. I'm going, it's perfect. It's perfect. It is all going to work out in the slipstream of exactly how it's supposed to, and it's perfect. And it is. And I can honestly say I feel nothing but like peace around all of it. Whereas before I literally, it's because of you guys, I would have been melting down over those kind of things. I'm not at all. Because I absolutely know that we're in the slipstream of this divine right order. And I can't stop my karmic destiny any more than I can stop a tidal wave, but I can flow in the river with it. And that way I keep my peace, and I then bring possibility to me rather than reject it and go into a resonance of fear. Does that make sense to everybody?
Absolutely.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Because otherwise the world's going to consume us, gang, because there's so much, excuse the language, shit going on right now. And it's just beginning. The international stuff's going to hit soon. And we can all be freaking out, or we can be in peace about it. We're going to have a choice. And the more resonance that we bring to the table of humanity, of peace, the better the world is going to be. I think every thought and every single person contributes to either the creation of that or to the lack of expression of that.
Mm.
And we have a choice.
I feel like we should do that number 12 before we finish today. Joe, would you like to read that one?
Try. Any attempt to deny what is must be fearful, and if the attempt is strong, it will induce panic. Willing against reality through impossible, willing against reality, though impossible, can be made into very persistent goal, even though you do not want it. But consider the result of this strange decision. You are devoting your mind to what you do not want. How real can this devotion be? If you do not want it, it was never created. If it were never created, it is nothing. Can you really devote yourself to nothing?
Oh, God.
I
Of
think
that.
we do that quite often. Devote
Yeah.
yourself.
That's cryptic, isn't it?
There's some little slaps in the face there.
I think it's very clear. Whatever we're worrying about, whatever we're really dwelling on,
Yeah.
that produces fear in our minds, it really is nothing we're devoting ourselves to, because our attention is our devotion.
Yeah.
So worry is irrelevant. Do you guys get how valuable it is for us to get together every Tuesday and remind ourselves that all of our fear is nonsense, and that the only way out is in, and the only choice is to continue to see the oneness of God in all things. Because I know for me, if I wasn't doing this, I'd get swept up by it.
Mhm.
Yep.
I'd get swept up by it.
Well,
So I so appreciate everyone on the call that we continue to just rock up for this.
That's probably why I'm feeling that grr. I've
Yeah.
missed you guys the past few weeks.
Yeah. I've been swept up in
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's always good to see you, Joey. I'm still waiting for your long black locks to flow down to your shoulders once again. But I think it's going to be a while.
Right around the time we start putting the winter gear back on, it'll probably
Yeah, I'm
be
thinking
about
Christmas.
there.
That'll
Yeah.
be my Christmas present, Joey.
There you go.
I'm gonna stop sharing now.
Oh,
So I want to see your faces properly.
And
Yeah.
before I forget, sorry, I won't be here next week, but I
Okay.
will be
Oh,
following week.
where are you
Okey-dokey.
gallivanting off to, Linda?
I'm going to be working because on Thursday we're gallivanting off to the Riverland, the Barossa,
Mhm.
taking the motor home and having a weekend with some friends down there, over there, up
Beautiful.
around there.
I remember
Sounds awesome, Linda.
Barossa Pearl. Wasn't that a wine or something?
Yeah, Barossa is the wine region,
Yeah, yeah,
one
Barossa
of the
Pearl.
wine regions here. Mm.
Yeah. It's probably even bigger than Mount River as far as wines go. Mount River's a surfing destination as well. So, yeah, lovely. Enjoy. My lesson is love requires your cooperation.
With a big, big circle around it.
Mine is God is love and you want him. This is your will. Ask for this and you will be answered.
Mhm.
Well, just steal my one, Gary, for goodness sake. Great minds think
I'm-
alike.
I'm happy to share, Linda. Happy to share.
It's available to everybody.
Yeah. Who else?
I'll jump in real quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do two today. Security of reality is really stuck with me, so I'm gonna figure out what that means to me because it's rattling around up there. And also the fact that God is love does not require really belief, but does require acceptance.
Mm.
And any more of God's love in my life will definitely be accepted. Please.
Beautiful. Who else?
Joe, this
when I
might help.
recognize the
Oh,
oh
sorry, Jane. You go.
oh I'm sorry. Oh,
Joe,
thank
I'm
you.
just putting a link for you in the thing because that might help with that. It's Circle of Atonement website and they're talking about number 10.
Mhm.
Sorry, Jane.
When I recognize oh no, that's absolutely fine. When I recognize the will of God, I understand myself.
Mhm. Mm. Mm. It's one of the first things, wasn't it? Carly?
I'm gonna paraphrase Jane again, and I've got love attracts love. You attract what you are.
Cute.
Nice.
Julie.
What
What
was
have you
the
got?
last sentence? You attract what you I didn't hear the last.
What you are.
Oh,
Mm.
I can't choose. They're all good. Just love you requires your cooperation. I think it's the nice simple one.
It's just nice and simple, and
That is
it's a
cool.
nice, easy one to check in with.
And
Beautiful.
I do love Gary's ask to bring a closer connection to God. I just ask
Yeah.
to have a closer connection to God. Yep.
Lovely. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
See you
everybody.
all except
Yeah,
Linda
thank
next
you.
week.
Each and every one.
See you in
See
a
y'all
couple of
later.
weeks. Love you
Yeah.
All
guys.
right. We'll miss you,
Bye.
Lady
Bye.
Linda.
Bye.